I'm Tony Scott with bnetTV. We are here at the SDP Summit in Rome, and I am speaking with Aepona's Mr. Michael Crossey. How are you today, sir?
Hello.
Hello. So, listen, the SDP Global Summit is kind of a new in the ecosystem of conferences, but a lot of growing static and sticktivity around this particular area. Can you comment on that?
Well, actually, we've been supporting this summit for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's really evolved from a technology-based conference to more of a business-based conference, and it has evolved from being quite internal operator-centric to really being more about how operators are interacting with the outside world, with web service developers, with application companies, with cloud services. So it's become the ecosystem has become a lot broader in the time that I've been coming here.
You and I are just sort of kidding about here off camera and talking about the how a lot of young kids just expect well, my stuff's in the cloud, it just works, it's all okay. But this summit in particular, SDP, the service delivery platforms, everybody, the people that were involved in this portion of the ecosystem were getting there, and now that they are there, this conference seems to be really centered around the user platform UIs and how to interact.
Yeah, exactly how to interact and how to make the services that operators they're starting to make available now through APIs, for example, how to make them more usable, more attractive, how to create business solutions that are built on those APIs, how to monetize their network services. Those are the kind of business conversations that are happening. And
where does Aepona fit in all this?
So Aepona, right? So we're providing a layer of platform actually that kind of sits on the edge of the operator network, allows them to securely expose their core capabilities, manage those capabilities, and monetize those capabilities as APIs. So we sort of sit between we're the bridge, if you like, between the operator's core network and the external third-party application companies, content providers that are using those services.
Last time you and I had a chance to speak on a panel at CTIA in the spring, what are some of the things that you've seen that's happened within the ecosystem since that time that you think have been really forward moving?
Since the spring, well, there's been, from our perspective, we're seeing a lot of activity in operators becoming more interested in not just offering their core network services, but also bundling on top of that cloud service offerings. So aggregating third-party services from other providers, business applications that complete business applications that they can put into bundles and take through different channels to market, and then tie that back to their core network value. So that's something that's been emerging over the past few months.
Is this something that we're seeing more on a global scale, or is it regional?
That is happening everywhere, really. Yeah, I mean, it's happening in any market where there's a concentration of businesses that need to get easy access to cloud-based applications, especially where there's a large concentration of broadband, where fiber services have been rolled out. Those high-capacity networks are making that much more feasible. So that tends to be where most of that activity is happening.
What do you think that some of those cloud-based services over the course of the next 24 months? Where do you see more of that explosion? Is it going to be the consumer end, or is it going to be the enterprise end?
We think it's going to be an enterprise end, but more specifically on the the mid-sized enterprises, the small to medium companies, the companies that really don't have a lot of internal resources, IT resources. They're looking to outsource a lot of their a lot of those additional competencies. They want to come to a single provider for a whole range of services, and they want to concentrate on their own core business.
So I know that within the United States here in the summer we saw launches at Sprint, AT&T, and Verizon with Microsoft 365 is a really good example for the enterprise applications that were in sort of the cloud. You no longer have to run those systems in-house. You can go right to the providers for that. They're bundling it out on a per-user basis. It seems to be much cheaper. Is it the same globally?
It's starting to happen. I mean, it's not just applications. Microsoft 365 is one good example, but I think the key thing for operators, the key opportunity is to be able to bundle those applications together, create different, quite targeted packages. So they're becoming a broker, but also a merchandiser of those back-end services, those cloud-based services. So Microsoft 365 is a great example, but there's other, accounting packages.
Intuit was also a good partner, and there was another, and the SAP modules and these sort of, things.
Also local flavors of those, local versions of those applications. There in a lot of markets there are, local companies that are providing similar services. And very often, the businesses in those countries want to use the local partners as well. So you need that flexibility to be able to bundle and disaggregate and aggregate different packages.
And finally, Michael, why is it really important for companies like Aepona to be involved in the SDP Summit?
Well, I think this is a good place to get our message out. There's a good concentration of service providers here, business people as well as technical people from the service providers. It's a great way to meet people all under one roof. So it's a good, meeting place, marketing opportunity, and we, getting some business done here as well. So
Fantastic, Michael. Thanks for taking the opportunity to speak with us. Hoping to get a chance for an update again in the future.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.
And speaking with Michael Crossey of Aepona here at the SDP Summit in Rome 2012. I'm Tony Scott with bnetTV.